This week in Boruto, not only do we see the birth of Boroshiki in the Boruto anime, which was animated pretty nice actually, we saw the largest Rasengan ever created, but we also got Boruto Manga Chapter 60, the cover featuring Demon or Damon, who is just insanely and ridiculously OP. We will talk about that in a minute. We got a little bit more on the bond between Naruto and Kawaki, Naruto even calling him his son, and some ominous foreshadowing of what is to come for this series. First, starting with the Boruto episode, we saw as Momoshiki took over Boruto's body and he gained unparalleled strength and speed. He could fly, he is just slicing up Boro's body parts, slicing off his hand, and then he takes some of Naruto's chakra because Boruto was completely drained. He just sucks out the Nine Tails chakra and then uses it to completely and utterly annihilate the giant Boro. So this is the first time that Momoshiki was able to manifest himself through Boruto, and that's because his karma is maturing enough to the point where Momoshiki is starting to be able to take over, but it's still not too far along that Momoshiki can't resurrect himself. And this is actually pretty important leading into the manga, because right now Boruto is taking these pills that Amato gave him to try and prevent the karma from growing any further. We'll also talk about that when we get to the manga in just a minute. But there you see Kawaki gazing over Boruto's body with the horn and everything, and everybody is taken completely surprised by this. Now we're going to get some more Boroshiki later in this arc, but for now let's jump over to the manga where they're talking about Code and his ability to teleport. So these claw marks, these straps you see everywhere, this is all Code's doing, and he explains later in this manga chapter that he's able to use it to teleport and even take a person with him. Shikamaru even explaining that it's similar to the 4th Hokage's flying Raijin technique. So the 4th Hokage could only teleport to where he had a seal, and he would usually put those seals on kunai and then he could teleport around using them. Similarly, Code can teleport anywhere there is claw marks. And not only that, Code has a white karma, and he also has limiters in his body. So he can teleport, he can use his karma, he's already insanely OP. There's pretty clear foreshadowing in this arc that he's going to get his limiters removed at some point. He's going to probably capture and kidnap Amato and force Amato to remove his limiters, making him ridiculously and stupidly OP. Now we're going to talk about the androids in just a minute, but first let's talk about Amato. He's currently working on some projects. He has this capsule, and there's going to be a new ally that he's creating. It could potentially be his daughter. This girl Kaki is kind of like spying on him, sort of like being an assistant, but like overseeing him, and she doesn't really trust him, and there's this very like ominous, shady mystery going on with Amato. It's pretty clear that he has some ulterior motives, and she's trying to pry it out of him, but he won't let her know. He does tell her he has no intention of destroying or turning against Konoha by any means, but as we'll see later on, he's offering Kawaki a brand new karma, and I'm starting to think like maybe this dude either wants to resurrect his daughter using the karma, or potentially even take over Kawaki's body by giving him a karma. That's also a possibility, but he's saying this should become a powerful Konoha ally. It could potentially be an android similar to Code and Damon and all these new androids that are popping up. So that could be interesting coming up. I'm really curious to see who is inside this capsule and what it's going to mean for the sake of the future of this series. I mean, they're going to need help. Naruto and Sasuke just got majorly nerfed, and these new androids are so stupidly OP. You've got Ada and her little brother Demon or Damon, I'm not sure how to pronounce it yet, who have seemingly godlike abilities. I mean, it's so ridiculous. So this little kid, Demon, and we're just going to call him, if you look at him and have any killing intent, that intent kills you. So like, if you think about killing him with a Chidori, then you get pierced by a Chidori and you're dead, just by simply thinking it. Like, I don't know how a robot could have some sort of ability like this. I kind of feel like the writing it's getting ridiculous. And they explained a couple chapters ago that these androids are so absurdly powerful that even Jigen said they should be disposed, but Boro kept them safe because he was under the gaze of Ida's Sharingan. So she has this eye ability that, like, if you just look at her, you fall in love with her and you'll do anything she says. And it also, we find out in this chapter that she's got some other secrets as well, besides being able to see in the future and all sorts of other things like that. So, like, these androids, like, are literal gods. Like, their abilities aren't even ninjutsu anymore. They're almost like just automatic godly abilities. And that's probably why Ishiki was even so afraid of them in the first place and wanted them to be destroyed. And the only reason he kept Code around was because Code is very loyal, or was very loyal to Jigen. But Amato created these androids. So how is Amato able to create so much crazy technology and everything like this? I mean, the guy has got to be an alien or someone else in disguise. It seems like he has more intel and intellect and capabilities than even the Otsutsuki himself. So something very, very, very strange and weird is going on here, and I'm hoping we get an explanation, because we are so far past the realm of ninjutsu and outsmarting your opponent, and all of the new enemies now are just gods, essentially. And I don't know how Naruto and Sasuke, who are nerfed, are going to be able to defeat these super overpowered androids, but hopefully we'll find out in a couple chapters. The last two chapters have been kind of slow. Now we're going to jump over to Kawaki, who, as he's going through the town, he's going shopping, everybody's staring at him and he feels very out of place. And we get this kind of like touching moment between Naruto and Kawaki. Naruto's basically being a father figure to Kawaki, and he even like takes him home, puts him on his shoulder and calls him his son at one point. Now, some people seem to think that this is some sort of foreshadowing that Naruto feels more of a bond with Kawaki than even his own son, because they were both kind of like these rejects without parents, whereas Boruto's lived pretty much a nice life. His father was a Hokage, he's got a mom and parents and everything, whereas Naruto didn't have that, Kawaki didn't have that, and maybe Boruto is going to feel some sort of resentment towards Kawaki in the end, but for right now, things are pretty pleasant. They're having dinner with the whole family. Chan is in the middle there, and Kawaki right now feels like he's pretty much a burden. So near the end of the chapter, he starts to think like, what can I do to protect Lord Seventh? He's like a father to me. No one's ever been nice to me but him. And he's starting to think back about how Amato said, I can give you a karma to use solely as a weapon. You won't have to worry about anybody taking over your body. And at the end of the chapter, he's like, maybe I'll do it. So it appears that this is how Kawaki's going to regain his karma from the very first episode when he's battling Boruto in the flash forward. But I'm starting to think that maybe that isn't Kawaki at all. Maybe that's Amato. Maybe Amato actually ends up taking over Kawaki's body for some ulterior motive or something like that. We also have Boruto giving Kawaki a Leaf Village headband, a ninja headband, and Kawaki's like, I'm not a ninja, and everybody's like, it's okay. Interesting little moment here as Kawaki tries it on and he looks kind of goofy and everything. And the also important thing to note is that Boruto has been taking the pills that Amato gave him and hasn't noticed any changes in him. He hasn't noticed really anything. Like, even though it could potentially kill him, he hasn't noticed anything happen, even though he's been taking 2 pills a day for a week. So those pills may also have some ulterior motive as well. Maybe they're not poison. Maybe they're not meant to hold back the karma at all either. I think Amato is having some huge plans for some crazy stuff down the road, and I think he really may be the true villain of this arc. But first, they're going to have to get through these just insanely godly OP androids before we can get to all Amato's true motives. So that's all for what happened this week in Boruto. Pretty slow chapter overall, but I think Kishimoto is setting up for something hugely tragic, with Naruto perhaps dying or getting sealed off somewhere very soon. It appears that we're getting close to that time skip from the very beginning of Boruto. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and let me know your comments down below. I'm Mastar, and I'll see you on the next video.